All right, today I wanted to talk a little bit about what I call the PCP rule of the short game. Okay, and the PCP rule, and I'll talk about this, I want to go over some different shots here, but this is actually how you need to approach every short game shot. Okay, so when you walk up over a short game shot, and again, this can be a shot anywhere from inside 50 yards. For some people, it's even inside 100 yards. It's a short game shot, okay? But this is how we're going to approach this. It's called the PCP rule. And what the PCP stands for is putt when you can, chip when you can't putt, pitch when you have to. Okay, PCP rule. And I'm going to give you some examples here of what I'm talking about. So basically what we have here is I have some different balls lined up here, and I'm going to go over how you should approach this type of shot. So each one of these is a different type of golf shot in the golf course, but let's talk about those. So obviously here's the first one. I have a flag on the green here. It's about 30 feet on the green. Here's the first cut of the collar right here, okay? Edge of the green's here. This is the first cut, and we're even behind the first cut here. So when you walk up over a short game shot, the very first thing you think is, can I putt it? If you say, yeah, I can probably putt it, you putt it. You don't think about anything else, you putt it, okay? And I'm gonna give you a little bit of advice on that. So I'm gonna go over this shot right here, okay? And now, the way I would approach this is, yeah, I absolutely can putt this. This is pretty smooth in front of this. You know, this is the first cut of rough here, won't be any problem. I'm gonna putt the shot. So what I would suggest, number one, is you set up and take a practice stroke just like you'd be on the green. This right here is how hard I'd hit it if this ball was sitting on the green. Now, in my brain, I'm gonna sit there and say, I'm gonna hit that a little bit harder. Just a little bit harder, because obviously it's gonna be a little bit slower through the first cut and the second cut here, okay? So again, I walked over this and said, this would be a putt I would hit if I was on the green. Now, I'm gonna give it just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. I'm gonna set up over this. I'm gonna make sure that ball is forward of center, because I wanna make sure I get that overspin on it. I'm going to set up over it, okay, and I'm going to hit the putt. Now that ended up being a few inches from the hole. Understand that even an average putt will be better than most people's good chips, okay? You guys, it's hard to hit a bad putt most of the time, okay? So remember, the PCP rule, putt when you can. Well, I'm going to go to the next ball here, so I'm going to come here. Now, remember, the edge of the green is right here. The first cut stops here. So I'm actually about 6 feet behind, I'm 6 feet into the second cut. But it's pretty smooth in front of that, okay? So again, if I came up over it, that was my shot right here, I'm gonna say, can I putt this? And I'd say, yeah, I think I can putt this, that's it. I'm not gonna think anything else, I'm gonna go over this and I'm gonna putt it. So again, I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna set up over it, okay? I'm gonna set up next to it, just like I was on the green. I'm gonna hit a putt, like I'm on the green. So this would be if it was all green in front of me. That's the speed. Now, I'm going to take a practice stroke, giving it just a little bit more. Just a little bit more, because obviously it's going to be slow through here. Okay? So now I'm going to get up over it. And I'm going to putt it. Okay? I gave it a little bit more putt to that fringe, but it was relatively smooth through there. And again, remember, even an average putt, what you consider average, will be better than most people's good chips. And on that one, I was about 10 feet behind the green there, okay? So, remember, I'm still on the first P of the PCP. Putt when you can, okay? Now, I'm gonna go over this next shot. So I get over here. Now this shot right here, I have the edge of the green, the first cut of the fairway right here. Here's where the second cut stops. I'm literally into the third cut. I'm almost into the rough now, okay? So on this shot, I don't feel like I can putt it. I'm still gonna say, can I putt this? I'm not comfortable putting it because there's a lot of rough between me and even the second cut here, okay? So I'm not comfortable. So the next thought is, chip when you can't putt. So I go straight to a chip. So right now, I'm gonna get up over this and I'm gonna think, where do I need to land this to hit a good chip? And I want to land this one, if you can, just on the edge of the green. So I'm going to set up over this. I'm going to take the appropriate club, and I'm going to chip it just landing on the green and try to roll it out like a putt. So I'm going to set up over this, take a practice stroke or two, just like I'd be on a golf course. I'm going to set up over it. Okay? I'm going to land it just on the green, and I'm going to roll it up to the hole like it rolled out like a putt. So I felt like I couldn't putt through that rough, so I put a chip on it. But also what I did there, I landed it on the green as quick as possible. So I used minimal fly, maximum roll. Again, minimal fly, maximum roll there to allow that to turn into the roll of like a putt when it rolled out. Okay, so far we've gone putt when you can, chip when you can't putt. We hit a chip. Now I'm going to go back to this next one. Here's what's interesting. I'm going to show you a couple ones of this. So obviously in the PCP rule, I've got a lot of rough between me and even the second cut. So obviously when I walk up here and I say, can I putt this? No, I don't feel comfortable putting this at all. Okay? The second thing is chip when you can't putt. Well, I'm going to hit this chip for you, and I'm going to land this just on the green. So I'm going to set up. Okay? Okay? I'm going to land that on the green. And as you see, that's too much. That rolled about 10 feet past the hole. So right now, average golfers would say, well, maybe I have to put a pitch on that. But you don't. And I'm going to throw a second ball down here. And I'm going to show you why. Because remember, you chip when you can. So you putt when you can, chip when you can't putt. Okay? So instead of me trying to pitch it here, I'm going to hit it short of the green and jump it up on the green. So I'm going to take a club with a little bit less loft. Okay? I'm going to hit this just short of the green. And I'm going to let that fringe slow it up. And I'm still going to chip this. So I'm going to set up. Okay. And you notice that was still a chip. I landed it in the first cut of rough. That slowed it up more than landing the green, and it rolled out just like a putt. So again, I could chip that when I had to. So putt when you can, chip when you can't putt, pitch when you absolutely have to. I'm not pitching yet. I can still chip this. In fact, I have one more back here. And I'm going to go back to this last one here. Okay? So I'm going to go back here. Okay? This one, I've got a downhill slope. I've got still got a 30 feet of green, but I've got about 35 feet to the green. Okay? Obviously, if I hit this chip and land it on the green, it's going to roll past it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a little bit more lofted club than I had in the one before that, and I'm still going to bang into the side of the hill. Okay, so I've got like 35 to 40 feet to the edge of the green. I've got 30 feet of green to work with, but I'm going to sit up over this, and I'm still going to chip it. So I'm going to set up. Okay, and I'm still going to chip it. That's about 3 feet right of the hole. That's a good chip. If I tried to pitch that, there'd be all kinds of room for there. I could hit it, I could skull it over, I could fat it short. I mean, every so often it'd be a good shot, but remember, guys, you can be 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards out. I mean, you guys watch guys in the British Open, they're putting from 30 and 40 yards out, not just feet. You know, it's really, really smooth up to the green, they're putting way out. You pitch when you absolutely have to. And the pitch shot when you absolutely have to is because of all the room for there, okay? Because you can, remember, if you hit a pitch shot, you can skull it, you can thin it, you can fat it. There's too much room for there. Every one of those shots, a putt has got the least amount of room for air. A chip has the second least amount of room for air. A pitch has the most room for air. So remember this again. Putt when you can, chip when you can't putt, pitch when you absolutely have to. So PCP rule, remember, putt it when you can, chip it when you can't putt, pitch it when you have to. And here's the last one we have here. If you look here, I've got a shot from me to that flag. I've got about 10 feet of flag green to work with. I've got a bunker between me and that flag. So if I got up over this shot, obviously I'm going to try to take a very lofted club, and it putt when you can, chip when you can't putt. Well, if I try to chip this, even banging this in the side of the hill, okay, I mean, there's just no way. I mean, there's no way to hit this shot. If I'd have banged that in the hill, it'd have gone way too far past. There's no way to hit that shot. So, obviously, this is a pitch type shot. So, I'm going to set up over this. And remember, pitch is the last resort. So, I'm going to set up over this, put the ball forward in my stance, okay? Okay, and hit a pitch shot. So, remember how this works with the PCP rule. You putt when you can. Anytime you get over top of a shot, it can be inside 50 yards, it can be inside 100 yards. You always putt when you can. You chip when you can't putt. That's your second rule. If you can't putt it, we go immediately to a chip. Even if you've got to hit it short of the green and roll it up, we always chip it when we can't putt. You pitch it when you absolutely have to. As you see the situation here, you know, a bunker between me and the hole, there's nothing else I can do to pitch it but pitch it here. So that's your last resort. And remember the reason for this, because there's always more room for error as you go up the chain, okay? Always use the PCP rule. Using this PCP rule will dramatically improve your short game, which I guarantee you will dramatically lower your scores.